Alrighty guys, let's check out the Necromancer. What are the buffs and what are the nerfs for the Necro in Season 3? So starting right off, as far as the newer items, there is a build for Bloodlance as well as Bone Spear. So those could be one of the better skills to choose for if you are interested in playing the Necromancer in Season 3. So kicking it off with a brand new unique item, which is a chest piece, it's called the Mutilator Plate. It makes it so you are considered Bloodlance, and when Bloodlance would deal damage to you, it instead fortifies you for life and has a chance to form a Blood Orb, and it deals a little bit of damage. So this is going to be nice because you usually don't get extra bonus damage on your chest piece, unless it's some sort of a unique. And you considering being Bloodlance is actually pretty good. So if you guys don't know how it works, I'm going to briefly explain it. So Bloodlance makes it so it lingers in an enemy and it deals damage to all of the other lanced enemies. Now what's nice is since you are considered Bloodlance, it's also going to pierce through the enemies that are already lanced. So that means that you could hit another enemy in additional time because, well, you are also lanced. So it's going to pierce through, and that can be pretty cool. Now I'm curious to know, does this auto-target? Do you have to be facing the enemy? Do you have to be on the opposite side of the enemy? So this actually matters quite a bit because, well, your positioning may matter. With Paranormal, you can get additional attack speed and it requires you to have targets, and you're always going to be targeted yourself because you're already considered Lance. And then there's another thing where it gives you some overpower and blood orbs, which works well already with it. So this could be cool if you're interested in already playing maybe some sort of like a Lance build. You can go for this, but I'd argue Bone Spirit just does the job much better. Bone Spear and Bone Spirit might be kind of like the fan favorites here because it does require you to kind of ramp up. It did actually have a lot of lag issues with it at some point, so it had like some sort of like max cap, but that was the only time I remember people were messing around with it because it was funny to cause the servers to just melt. But nonetheless, there's another aspect over here. This is the Shattered Spirits aspect, so it's offensive. This is the one that I've got my eye on. So casting Bone Spear also launches 18 Bone Splinters in all directions, dealing some sort of damage to enemy and generates 6 essence per enemy hit, since you can hit all these extra enemies. Now my question is, I don't expect the enemy to get hit by 18 Bone Splinters. But does that mean if I hit one target, because like let's go over how it works over here for Bone Spirit. So it consumes all of your spirit. So this is supposed to be a huge DPS. Upon reaching the enemy, it explodes, dealing damage to the target and surrounding enemies. Does each enemy also give you 18 Bone Splinters? It just says casting it launches it all directions. So I'm assuming that's from where you're casting it, not like when it pops. It's when it launches. Now it says all directions, so I'm guessing maybe if you could shotgun, let's say it hits like three of the blown splinters can hit one enemy. That's an insane amount of damage, even just that alone. But also doing that massive amount of damage can be pretty good. So we'll have to wait and see kind of how the interaction plays with this, because there's another buff that gives you increased crit chance, which is definitely important, because if you don't, well then what are you going to be spamming, because this has a 12-second cooldown. If it does crit, you get extra cooldown reduction, but it can only happen once per cast. So I'm not sure if you cast it and the other splinters, if that counts as another source of Bone Spirit and you get double, then it's insane, but I doubt it works like that. It's probably only off of that cast itself. Then this one is pretty cool because it can actually give you extra essence over here, because it consumes all of your essence, so you're gonna have none. And there's another like change over here that we'll go over in a moment here. Iron Maiden, damage got increased, doesn't really matter. I don't think people are going to be sorry. It's all like Decrepify. That's like the thing that everyone uses, unless you want some like auto usage with some other ones. But the Horde Iron Maiden bonus damage got increased. Corpse Explosion, the lucky hit chance got reduced over here. Unfortunate. The base damage got increased though, so that's pretty cool. I love Ring of Sacrilegious Skull and Black River. That's one of my favorite things. And the Blighted Corpse Explosion damage decreased from 110 to 95%. Whatever. Doesn't really matter too much. At the end of the day, I take this as a W. Although this is kind of unfortunate. Blight, the damage over time got increased, so small little buff with that. Cool. Sever, small little buffs over there. Not big of a deal. Bone Spirit, the damage is increased by 4% of Essence casts, so it's another 1%, but that's like 25% because it's going to be a large amount that you're going to be using, right? And then with the Dreadful, Bone Spirit now restores 30% of your maximum Essence instead of 30 flat. So reading what it said before, it's over time, but if it just restores it instantly, you just keep on spamming it, potentially. Again, if you can activate it once off of itself and the splinters, it'd be 14% CDR. More likely it doesn't work like that, but if it does, that'd be amazing. Otherwise, you're going to be using like Bone Spirit to do massive big boy damage, and then you go back to maybe Bone Spear. Bone Spear is still really good. What I think Necromancer needed is some movement abilities. So with Acolytes Decompose, our minions deal 10x damage to enemies being decomposed, and now it's every 1.5 seconds decompose makes enemies vulnerable. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Initiates decompose used to slow all enemies, and the new one, it slows enemies, and if you channel decompose for at least 1.5, you gain some extra movement speed after ending. Nice little quality of life, but at the end of the day, I would like for us to be able to have some movement ability for Necromancer. That's the main reason why I don't like this class, and we'll probably never use this as a league starter. Next up, though, Dreadful Blood Mist. Previous the mist used to fortify you. Now you gain 10 crit strike chance for 4 seconds after Blood Mist ends. I just wanted to move fast with some sort of ability. Just give us some Blood Rush. Copy and paste from Diablo 3. That's what I want. It could be a new aspect. I would run it. Bone Prison, though. Friendly players and minions can have freely pass. This is so good. I don't know if any of you guys played the beta, but there was a lot of people out there that would troll people by putting them inside of the Bone Prison, especially in hardcore, with any of the world bosses, just to troll them. I remember people were doing that. I mean, it is funny, though. I'm not gonna lie. But enemies inside are now going to be vulnerable, and if an enemy is trapped in the Bone Prison... Oh, this is... You gotta put a point into it, but... Ghastly Bone Prism, if they're trapped, you get big essence and then additional 5 per trap, so that's cool. And then Dreadful Bone Prism, so the previous one would let you fortify, and the new one reduces your active cooldowns by 0.5 seconds each enemy is trapped by Bone Prism. So they really want you to do Decrepify Bone Prism to reset all your CDR. So I guess Decrepify, Bone Prism, and then fit them up with the Bone Spirit. Well, I guess it'd be Bone Spirit, then activate all these things while it's traveling because the thing is a little slow. Then you get to proc everything. So Pacifies, the Ossify Essence now displays current bonus. I like that. Nice quality life. All right, so where's the minion buffs? This is what I was excited about. So let's check it out. So Golem. So when Golems finish casting their active ability, they will try to first target a new close enemy before reverting to their previous target. I'm guessing that's a buff. Blood and Iron Golem now basic attacks do an AoE. Apparently the other one already did AoE, and that's why no one ran these ones. I never really played minion builds other than like Ring of Metal in Season 0. Okay, it was kind of fun, but it just takes too long to proc that effect. I was really hoping that it would change that. Active ability now grants the Golem Thorns, equals to 7% of armor. Thorns builds are just kind of like weak, I would say, in general, because they're just too slow for bosses. Bone Mage, the upgrade now fortifies based on maximal life instead of base. That's a buff. Skeleton Priest healing got increased, so that's cool. And then Paragon, the previous one, minions deal 15x for each minion type you have active. Minions now deal 10x for each 20% of attack speed bonus they have. I think minions get like, what is it, like 1/10 or something of your stat? I don't know. Is this going to be actually viable now? This could be. I'm gonna have to wait and test. Someone let me know. Is this going to make minions going to be badly? Because I wanted minion builds to play like minions in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. In Diablo 4, they just don't play aggressively, and that's the main problem. In addition to like the way the AI behaves compared to Diablo 3 and 2, it's just way better. So hopefully they can address this. Is there gonna maybe there's another update here? Okay, so Golem additional bonus change from 25 health to 25% damage. Oh, okay, cool. So more DPS on that. Aspect of Swelling Curse. Bone Spirit damage is based on distance traveled, and the new one is extra crit. That's better because you definitely want to get as much crit, because if it doesn't crit, you have long cooldown, so it's a bonus. I'd say that's, even though like it's less damage, it's overall going to be a nice quality of life change and kind of a buff in a sense because you're doing more damage if it's crit anyways. Fortress aspect, the previous one, enemies afflicted by your Iron Maiden have a chance to be stunned for 1 second when they deal direct damage. And the new one is Iron Maiden is now also a darkness skills and deals shadow damage. Enemies afflicted by your Iron Maiden have a chance to be stunned for 1 second when they deal direct damage. Okay. Next up, with rotting aspect, chance to spawn additional corpses got increased over here, so basically almost double there. Hulking aspect, chance to reduce golems active cooldown got increased from 2 to 5 to 4 to 10. Chance to spawn a corpse got increased from 1 to 2.5 to 2.1. Okay, whatever. Okay. So that's going to be the Necromancer changes. What do you guys think of this? That was kind of a surprise at the very end where like the minions, I don't know how much you can scale this, because I believe minions scale their stats are like 1/10 or something of yours, and this includes crit and everything. It's kind of a weird thing that this is just isn't like generic information, but if this can scale to the point where minions actually become good and I can play a minion build that I can walk through, the problem is they're not aggressive enough in their AI, and I think that that's one of the things I would love to have seen in this patch. But at the end of the day, if you're interested in playing Bone Spirit or Lance, maybe this is a season for you to play Necromancer. But let me know your guys' thoughts. If you guys are playing Necro, what are you playing? What build? Anyways, that's going to wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe if you're new so you don't miss out on more Diablo content. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.